Hello students and welcome to this explanation on operating budgets. I want us to run through this question. It is called Ohsopretty Pty Limited and it reads as follows. Ohsopretty operates in the beauty industry and it produces a collagen repair day cream. You were approached to assist with setting their operational budgets. With regard to the annual budgeting, the following is expected. So they have a budgeted sales, 20,000 bottles of day cream, and then the selling price per bottle is 350 Rand. Each product requires two secret ingredients, direct material A and direct material B, and the following indicates the volumes and costs. So the volume requirement for material A is 100 milliliters and for material B is 100 milliliters. And then they say the cost per liter is 500 Rand and 600 Rand respectively. I'm going to center these. Then they say the direct labor consists of two departments, Department 1 and Department 2. There's some labor minutes per bottle in Department 1, which is 15 minutes, and in Department 2 it is 5 minutes. And the cost per labor hour is 250 Rand and 150 Rand respectively. So please note how we have a mathematical problem in both the materials as well as the labor departments. Because in the materials, the requirements are given in milliliters, but the price is given in liters, which means that we will need to convert everything to be liters. Then we also have labor minutes, and then we have the cost per labor hour. So again, we will have to convert to the biggest measurement, which is hours, in order for us to be able to complete this budget. Then overheads are calculated based on labor hours. The overheads are charged at 15 Rand per labor hour for both labor departments. The stock levels are as follows. There's a stock level for material A, 100 milliliters and 100 liters, I beg your pardon, and 200 liters. Then for direct material B, it's 1,000 liters and 900 liters. And then for the day cream, 500 bottles and 700 bottles respectively in the opening and closing stock. You are required to complete the sales budget, the production budget, the material purchases budget, the direct labor budget, the overhead budget, and the cost per unit calculation. All right, in order to start, I've opened for us a blank Excel spreadsheet somewhere. Oh, I have not. All right, so let's do that. And then I am basically going to copy all the required templates onto this Excel spreadsheet. So here I am going to start with the sales budget, which is required first, and I find that one on the other budgets template. So I'm going to need this one for the required. Then it is the production budget, and that layout I believe we can find on the material purchases budget. So I'm just going to copy the material purchases. And now, of course, we're not only calculating material purchases. So I am going to delete the steps. We don't need that. We will rename it according to our question or our current question. Then they also ask for the direct labor budget. So I'm going to copy that one from the direct labor template. So I'm just copying everything at once so that I don't have to go back and forth. So there's the labor. We need to now number them appropriately. Again, we don't need the step number in this instance. Then we need, on other budgets, we need the overhead budget and we need the cost per unit. So I'm also going to copy those. And then we will just customize our answer as we go along. Right, we need to start with the sales budget. And per the question, this is required, number one. And they have given us the sales information at the beginning of the question. In the first bullet, it was 20,000 bottles at 350 Rand. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to say our product now is day cream. And the sales unit, it was 350 Rand. And I just need to double check the sales units, 20,000. So in order to get to the total sales, I need to multiply these two values. So the total sales is 7 million. Then we are on our second required part, and that is our production budget. And again, I'm just going to customize it. We are selling day cream. Then what is the sales unit? We just looked at them, 20,000. I just want to move everything to the side so it looks proper. Then minus the opening finished goods. If I go back to the question, the opening was 500 bottles of day cream. The closing was 700 bottles of day cream. So it's minus 500, add 700. We just double check 500 and 700, yes. And I am just going to get to the sum of that. Right, so our production budget is 20,200, and this is representative of the total units, in this instance, the total bottles that need to be produced. In the third required part, we need to do the material purchases. And there we had a material A and a material B. So I am just customizing my answer. And now we're going to say production units from required number 2. And it was 20,200. So I'm just typing in that answer, which is of course now the answer that we calculated here. Then what is the input that is required for 1 unit? I need to go back to the question and check the material. For material A, it was 100 milliliters, and for material B, it was 100 milliliters. However, the price was given in cost per liter. So now I'm going to go back and say, all right, I need 100 milliliters of A and 100 milliliters of B. And of course, I now need to multiply the two that I've just filled out in order for me to get to the total required. But of course, this is now the total input required in milliliters. Now we want to convert it to liters. How do I convert to liters? I need to divide by 1,000. So I will simply take the answer that I've calculated divided by 1,000 because there's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. I need to go and look up what the opening and closing stocks are. So going back to the question, you will find that the opening stock for material A was 100 liters and the opening stock was 1,000 liters for B. The closing stock was 200 liters for A and 900 liters for B. So I'm just reading it off from there. I need to go back to my template and I'm just filling out. So for material A, it was 100 liters. For material B, it was 1,000. The closing stock was 200 and 900 respectively. Let me just double check if I've captured that correctly. It's 100 and 1,000 and 200 and 900 closing stock. Right, now I'm going to get to my total to buy, which is the sum of everything from the converted total to the closing stock. And then I just need to go and fill out the price. I believe the price was 500 Rand per liter and 600 Rand per liter respectively. So I need to go and do my multiplication. Right, done with that one. So it seems to me like this is 1,060,000 and then 1,152,000 for the two materials. In required number 4, we need to do the direct labor budget. Again, I am just customizing it because we have department 1 and department 2, so that is fine. I am just putting a proper heading. So the production units, again, I'm going to go back to my production budget. 20,200 units in each instance. The hours per unit. Now I need to go back and remember that I'm working with minutes. In order to get minutes to be expressed as hours, I need to divide by 60. So I'm going to go and say it is 15 out of 60 and it is 5 out of 60. Right, in this instance, you can see that there are quite a few commas and you need to use 2 decimals or follow the instructions given. Then the total hours is the 20,200 times by 0.25. And then here it's going to be the 20,200 times by 0.08. And then we need to go and put in the wage. So how much is the wage? It's 250 Rand per hour, 150 Rand per hour. So we're going back to filling that out. 250, 150. To get to the total labor cost, I'm going to multiply the total hours by the wage rate. And there you will see that for Department 1, we will spend 1,262,500. And for Department B, we will spend 242,400 Rand. We are on the overhead budget, and that is required number 5. And here we just need to customize it because it is now Department 1 for the labor and Department 2 as per the labor. You will see in the question you are told that overheads are calculated based on labor hours. So what needs to be done is we need to fill in all the same information as we did in the labor budget, except this rate will be different. So it is still 20,200. It is still the same rate, 0.25 and 0.08. Then the total labor hours will still be 5050 and 1616. And then we need to go and look for the rate. The rate will differ. In the question, we are told overheads are charged at 15 Rand per labor hour for both the labor departments. So I'm going back to filling it out. It's 15 Rand and 15 Rand respectively. Now I am multiplying these two. So it's 5,050 times 15 and it is 1616 times 15. And we will spend on overheads 75,750 and 24,240 respectively. In the last part, which is cost per unit, required number 6, we do calculations for day cream. And now we need to go and do our cost per unit calculation, which is the cost of one single unit, what it costs to make one bottle of day cream. We need to know what it costs so that we know what the markup is and that we know that we should sell it for more than the total cost of that bottle. So if we make a bottle of day cream and it costs us 500 Rand, we cannot sell it for 500 Rand or lesser. It needs to be sold for more. Let's look at the material A and the material B. Then for the labor, we will now change it. It will be Department 1 and Department 2. Basically, I'm just customizing it. And for the overheads, it will also be Department 1 and Department 2. So let's look at material A. For material A, we need 100 milliliters at a rate of 500 Rand per liter. So we inquire a problem here. We encounter a problem here. It is that it is in milliliters, yet the rate is in liters. So we will have to rewrite it as liters. To do that, we're going to say it is 100 milliliters divided by 1,000 times the rate. And I believe the rate was 500 Rand. So I'm going to do that calculation, 100 divided by 1,000 times 500. Then we need to go and calculate for material B. We have similar issues. It is 100 milliliters, but the cost is 600 Rand per liter. So I'm going to write it as 100 divided by 1,000 to get it to liters times the rate in liters, which is 600 Rand. So here it is 100 divided by 1,000 times 600. And that gives us 60 Rand. We are in the labor part. We have labor department 1 and labor department 2. Going to the labor information, for department 1 it is 15 minutes at 250 Rand an hour. For department 2 it's 5 minutes at 150 Rand an hour. Again, we encounter the same problem. We have minutes and we have hours. Everything needs to be expressed in the bigger measurement, which is hours. In order to get the 15 minutes to be hours, we're going to say it is 15 divided by 60, and we're going to times that by the rate, and it seems to me like it was 250 Rand. So we're going to times it by 250. For the labor department, it was 5 divided by 60 times the labor department 2, it was 5 minutes and it's 150 Rand. So I'm timesing it by a rate of 150. I need to do that calculation, 50 divided by 60 times 250, and here it's 5 out of 60 times 150, which gives you 62 Rand 50 and 12 Rand 50 respectively. Then we are on the overheads. With the overheads, we used the labor hours, but we used the rate of 15 Rand per labor hour. So we will still say for department 1, we need to use the labor hours, which is 15 minutes out of 60, but now the rate is given as 15 Rand. For department 2, the labor hours is still 5 minutes out of 60 minutes at times 15 Rand, which is the rate of overheads. I'm going to say 15 out of 60 times 15 and 5 out of 60 times 15. I need to calculate the total cost per unit, and that is the sum of my material, labor, and overheads, and it costs me 190 Rand to make 1 bottle of day cream. All right, I hope that you have enjoyed this explanation. And this is now a holistic look at all the possible budgets that can be asked. So it's the sales budget, production budget, material purchases, direct labor, overheads, and the cost per unit calculation. These are the 6 things that can be required of you to do. As you can see, if you have or you know your templates, you should be fine. So please let me know if you have any other questions that relate to budgets and all the budgets that we have done. But if you do not have any questions, then I will see you in another video soon. All right, keep well.